Okay, guys, make sure you grab your math notebook so that you can write this down in it. We just want to review. I know we talked about this before. We talked about exponents. So exponents is just another way to write multiplication sentences. So instead of writing 10 times 10, we would write 10 to the second power. And that little 2 doesn't mean 10 times 2, but it means how many times am I going to multiply by 10, if you remember that. So the little number, so if I put the 10 here, this means this is my number. And the tiny number, this guy here, is the power. Okay, so if I said 8 to the third power, the number is 8, and the power is going to be 3. So 8 to the third power. And to write that out as a multiplication sentence would be 8 times 8 times 8. So when you multiply, you're not saying it's 8 times 3, which is 24. You're doing 8 times 8, which is 64, and then times 8 again, which would be 6 times 8 is 48, plus 3 is 51, so that'd be 512. Okay, and sometimes we use, for the 2, I'll put a 4 here. So this is the number, and the small one, I also the small because I wrote big, is the power. And sometimes the second power is called squared. So it might say, like, what's 4 squared? So 4 squared is 2. What's 8 squared? 8 squared is 8 to the second power. So second power sometimes means squared. And if you think about it, you need to have double 2 to make a square. And then the third power is called cubed. And I know that seems weird that it should be called cubed because you think 4 parts would make a cubed. What we're saying is that you have to multiply 3 numbers together to find out how big the cube is. So again, 4 to the third power would be 4 to the 3. Like 8 to the third power, 8 cubed would be 8 3. And then again, if you wrote this out as a number sentence, it would say 4 times 4 times 4, and then 8 times 8 times 8. Or 4 times 4 up here, and then 8 times 8 there. Okay, and all the other ones just say to the power. And if remember, if we did it by tens, we did it with the tens. And we said, like, so 10 to 5, which equals 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. But when we have the 0, we don't have to do all this multiplication. We would just add 5 zeros to our answer. So we'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So our answer would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If it was 10 to the 3, we wouldn't write this all out. We would just make sure we have 10 with 3 numbers in it. Okay? But if you have a number like, so if we had 2 to the 8th power, which would equal 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Do I have 8 there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It wouldn't be 16. You'd have to multiply all the 2's. So 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. I'm not going to do it like that. Now I'm going to do it this way. So 2 times 2 is, this is 8 again. And then 8 times 8 times 4. So 64 times 4. Could you do it the other way? Of course you could, but this way is just a little bit faster. And that's 256. Okay, so now there's 2 forms we might say. So standard form is going to be the way that we usually see the number. And then we would have exponential form or exponent form. Okay, so if I have this one, the 5 times 5 times 5. In standard form, I would have to just do the math out. So I would have to do 5 times 5 times 5. So 5 times 5 is 5 times 5 is 25, and then 25 times 5. Oh, I should put it there. 25. 5 times 2 is 10. 10 plus 2 is 125. So that would be the standard form. It is 125. In exponent form, I wouldn't do the math. I would just say, what power am I supposed to be to? So how many 5s do you see? 3. So that's 5 to the third. Okay, so again, I have my numbers here. I had to put it in standard form and exponent form. So standard form, again, I just have to do the math. So that's 4 times 4, which is 16, and then 16 times 4 is 64, and then 64 times 4, we've done this one like 100 times, I'm sorry, is 256. So our standard form would be 256. And my exponent form would be, this is my number, and then how many times do I see that number? I see it 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So it would be 4 to the 4th power. Okay, and then one more time, we have 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Remember, we're not saying it's 6. We're not saying 2, 4, 6. We have to do the multiplication. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. So our standard form would be 8. And then our exponent form would be that we keep our number the same, and then we count how many 2's we have, and we have 3 2's. So it would be 2 to the 3rd power, or 2 cubed. And that is how you do exponents.